A better day for firefighters in North County. No major growth for the Lilac Fire, but we take a look at the challenges still ahead in these dangerous conditions. Homes lost to the wall of flames. Neighbors see the damage left behind.
You know, they're confused here. They're wondering why, they're all stacked up in here. And
helping those who can't speak up for themselves. The massive operation to get horses to safety. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. We're devoting our show tonight to covering the wildfire situation. Most of our focus will be on the Lilac Fire burning near Fallbrook. Here's the latest information on the fire's size and progress. Total acreage is holding at 4,100. There has been no change since last night when the fire was growing rapidly. Containment is at 0%. 85 structures have been destroyed. Old Highway 395 between Lilac Road and State Route 76 remain closed in both directions. KPBS has reporters covering multiple angles of this developing story, from damaged homes to those who have been forced to evacuate. We start tonight with KPBS reporter Kenny Goldberg near Bonsall, close to the fire zone. Kenny?
Ebony, I'm here in Bonsall, right where the fire blasted through yesterday afternoon. And behind me, some crews are still here trying to put out some hot spots. They've been aided by an air-dropping helicopter that's been making some water drops throughout this afternoon. These are just some of the more than 1,000 people who are on the fire lines here up in North County battling the Lilac Fire. Earlier today, I visited the evacuation center, the Red Cross Evacuation Center in Escondido, that housed more than 200 people last night. They have the capacity to take about 50 more. And a Red Cross official told me people are anxious, they're nervous, but there's also been a sense of community where a whole group of neighbors evacuated at the same time, and they're in there trying to make the best of it. I'm told that the extreme fire danger will continue throughout the weekend up here in North County. Reporting in Bonsall, Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.
Thank you so much, Kenny. The Lilac Fire destroyed more than 65 homes. Dozens were located in a retirement community. Earlier today, KPBS reporter Susan Murphy got a closer look at the damage.
A day after escaping a raging firestorm, some residents are returning to charred debris, their homes obliterated by walls of flames. This is what Rancho Monserrate Country Club used to look like, a peaceful retirement community set beside a pristine golf course and surrounded by rolling hills. What's left on some streets are piles of rubble and melted metal. Burned out cars and golf carts dot smoldering homes. Brick staircases that once led to front doors now lead to nowhere. Firefighters say flames moved through this community at speeds they had never seen before. CAL FIRE Captain Kendall Borteaser says it was an unfair fight.
The crews were trying to stay out ahead of this as quickly as they could, and as we know, when a tornado hits the Midwest, there's no stopping it. When a hurricane hits the East Coast, there's no stopping it. When the Santa Ana winds come in, there's no stopping them.
Firefighters continue working around the clock, putting out hot spots before the next round of Santa Ana winds arrive this weekend. Firefighters say it's a path of destruction, but not of defeat. Hundreds of lives were saved. Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
Some of the people evacuating the Rancho Monserrate community are also dealing with the added stress of whether or not they can rebuild what they lost. KPBS spoke to a concerned woman shortly after she evacuated the senior community, not long after the fire first broke out.
Well, a lot of us are wondering if we're insured enough. And I called my insurance company, and I'm not. $80,000 insurance. I didn't think to, update those. It's everything. It's just sad. It's a sad loss of friends and community, as it was, and hopefully will be again when we can all get back in there and rebuild.
Jan Carver managed to evacuate with her dog Annie and her car covered by fire retardant. She wasn't able to grab any other belongings. CAL FIRE warns that there's still 0% containment on the Lilac Fire and the weather conditions remain dangerous.
I caution everybody that just because we're not seeing smoke in the air doesn't mean that we turn the corner on this fire. And so we're going to continue to work using all the resources at the disposal of the incident to continue to work on reducing that risk. So again, folks need to pay close attention throughout the day to what's going on there.
CAL FIRE says more than 1,000 firefighters are working to contain the fire, aided by 15 helicopters, including some military aircraft. There's a space available at some evacuation centers for people who need a place to go. Locations include the East Valley Community Center in Escondido, Palomar College in San Marcos, and the Bostonia Rec Center in El Cajon. Small pets are allowed at each location. Oceanside High School is at capacity. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman is there, and he talked to evacuees. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Ebony. Yeah, we're here at Oceanside High School in Oceanside, where people staying here are getting ready to have some dinner. Now, this gym at Oceanside High School is where most of the people staying here are. They have 4 buildings in total, 3 other ones. Now, this shelter is being run by the American Red Cross. It's one of 4 that they're currently operating. Now, the Red Cross tells us last night around 540 people stayed here, and they expect a similar number tonight. Right now, people are sleeping on cots, blankets, and pillows. People staying here have access to food. In fact, some local restaurants donated breakfast and lunch and dinner right now that's being served. And there's also Wi-Fi and charging stations for laptops and cell phones, so they're trying to make this feel as homey as possible. Now, a lot of people really came here when Oceanside was putting out those mandatory evacuations. We talked to a few people here. One woman was actually celebrating her birthday here, and she had to be evacuated. They brought her some balloons today. Another man and his wife had their power cut before they were evacuated. They said the police came to their home and told them to move. It was an elderly couple. They were forced to come out quick. He said his wife didn't even get to grab shoes. She's here in her slippers right now. But this has really been a community effort. People can bring their pets here. The San Diego Humane Society is here helping people with that. And they actually brought in some extra food from the Del Mar Fairgrounds. They had a call out for extra supplies there, and they were bringing some of that extra into here. And I mean, all day, just tons of things around here. There's, like we said, cell phone companies here providing Wi-Fi for people staying here. And just back out here live at Oceanside High School, this shelter is going to be open for as long as they really need it to be. The Red Cross is currently operating 4 other shelters. There's 5 currently open. There's 2 that are full, but this one they don't know for sure. They're doing a count right now, but they expect it's going to be full again tonight. Now, throughout this whole day, they have been going around. It's a big school. They've been going around checking classrooms, seeing what's open, what's available, and the Red Cross tells us tonight that they might be expanding this tomorrow. If that happens, this could be expanding. This is a high school. There's a ton of rooms here, a lot of room to put people. Also, there's been kids here. This is a whole family affair. The whole family comes. There weren't too many people here during the day. A lot of the adults, like the Red Cross said, had to go to work, visit family, and things like that. And the children, a lot of them were staying in the library, actually. They had some movies in there. The kids were reading books. So for the kids, it's really not a boring time here. And like we said, there's rooms all over the place. We're in this kind of middle foyer quad here where people can kind of congregate together and talk. They serve dinner outside. It's supposed to be pizza tonight. They had some chicken sandwiches earlier, as well as a breakfast. And keep in mind, this is just one of 4 that the Red Cross is operating. We're here at Oceanside High School, and like they said, they're going to keep this one open as long as they can, and they expect that more people might be coming here, and they're trying to make some room for them. So we're out here live at Oceanside High School. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
A lot of people in need. Thank you so much, Matt. Another busy evacuation center is in Del Mar, where horses have been coming in by the hundreds. John Zapovido is the host of the California Report, which is heard on KPBS FM. He's at the Del Mar Fairgrounds tonight. Hi, John.
Hi, thanks for having me.
What are you seeing there?
Well, right now what we see is a lot of people. So if we turn and look this way, as I turn away from the camera, this has been the scene all day long, and in fact it's starting to taper off a little bit. I've been told there's been at least 1,800 people have volunteered, and we're at a point now where there's almost, just a little bit more, I should say, than 2 volunteers per horse. There are about 800 horse and other assorted animals, livestock that are out this fairgrounds. And I can report, sadly, that one horse has died as a result of their injuries sustained in the fire that was brought here. And there's still about another 25 being cared for by the veterinarian as we speak.
Thank you so much. So earlier today, we heard reports that there were at capacity when it came to volunteers. Is that still the case? And I know this is an ongoing developing situation, and it's still going to be in a need tomorrow. Can people still volunteer? What's the status on that?
Yeah, I think at this point, the volunteers are really at capacity. Like, let's let the folks do what they're going to do at this point. You know, I think part of this, I mean, the story behind this story is the fact that there was that awful Facebook video showing those thoroughbreds that were, you know, essentially turned loose in the last moments of the fire. I think that video, almost every person I've spoken with here who's volunteered has some connection to that video. Even if they couldn't bring themselves to watch it, they saw it and they wanted to do something. You know, horse culture is very, very big up here, not just with the racetrack from Del Mar, but there is a long-standing tradition of great jumping and dressage trainers who live up here. And so I think that there are a lot of folks who are just so connected to the horse community that they wanted to do something that helped. And then on top of it, you had all those people who watched that viral video and, you know, the support swelled, I should say. I want to take you and show you a comment and let you listen to a comment of Shane Wireman. This is a woman who teaches dressage and jumping here. She's somebody who had to get the horses together, get them out of their pen and get them ready to go. And here's the thing, she says, when you're dealing with a horse, you have to be calm. Or if you have anxiety, the horse is going to have anxiety. So here she was describing how her family was calm during this moment of great crisis.
Yeah, my daughter didn't do so well in that department. She's still learning. But it is learning to stay calm, and, you know, we convey that energy to them. So the best thing we can do is really stay calm and help them maintain their sensibilities as we're pulling them through this process. And, you know, they're confused here. They're wondering why, you know, they're all stacked up in here and life isn't normal for them. But they know that we're around, and so that helps them kind of have some normalcy.
Now, just as you heard, it's hard enough just being in these pens for these horses, these stables, unfamiliar territory, all these people coming back and forth. So you can imagine when there's fire, there's flames, there's people yelling. On top of that, thoroughbreds tend to be a very, how do you say, they're traded like a commodity. These aren't necessarily horses that are cared for the way you know, many of the trainers here care for their horses. There's not that connection, that intimate connection. So I was speaking to one of the women who trains for dressage here. Her name's Lena Nordloff Davis. She's from Encinitas, and she said she can totally understand why those horse hands decided to let the gate open. It's a situation that she's had to face herself.
We have probably 50 or 60 horses just right down the street. And, you know, you're not going to have trailers, you know, that many trailers parked at your facility. It just isn't logistically possible. So it's just one of those really difficult things to be prepared for. But you do the best plan that you can, and you hope that you can go back and forth. But as you know, traffic gets horrific, and it's a stressful, difficult situation. But you plan ahead as the best that you can and try to have an evacuation plan. And I'm sure they did. In San Luis Rey as well, but it just came so quickly, you know.
Now, as we talk about traffic being horrible when you're trying to get out, traffic has been horrible here trying to get in. That's because so many people have volunteered. And, you know, when you think about, you know, the piece we just saw, and you're talking about people who are in trouble, and these are horses, of course. And there's a question of, you know, why do people rally around horses? And I really found it interesting that one of the biggest, most resounding answers I got is that because horses mirror our behavior, whether we're calm or we're anxious, we see something in horses that we see in ourselves, and by taking care of them, we're in a way saying we're going to take care of our community. Ebony?
Thank you so much. It looks like a lot of people are coming together there. Thanks, John. The Del Mar Fairgrounds has the capacity to shelter 1,600 animals and has had about 850, as we just saw, as of this morning. Lots of people have offered to help care for the horses, so many so that the volunteer slots were full. KPBS reporter Claire Tragesser has more on ways to help in the aftermath of the fire.
While the Del Mar Fairgrounds don't need more volunteers, it does need money to buy supplies for the animals. The Del Mar Thoroughbred Club has set up a website to collect donations. You can find that at dmtc.com. The San Diego Red Cross also has enough volunteers to staff its shelters, but a spokeswoman asks anyone wishing to help to sign up in case more help is needed. You can sign up at redcross.org/volunteer. The Red Cross is also looking for donations. You can give at redcross.org/donate. One local organization that still needs help is 211 San Diego. The emergency hotline is looking for people to staff its call center. A spokeswoman says they currently have about 150 volunteers. Those wishing to help can sign up at handsonsandiego.org/211 San Diego. Claire Tragesser, KPBS News.
211 San Diego says calls shot up 900% yesterday as the Lilac Fire spread. The nonprofit information line says thousands got the help they were looking for, but some San Diegans say their calls failed. KPBS reporter Megan Burks has more.
More than 500 people have volunteered to field questions from evacuees and worried residents, bringing call wait times down to seconds compared to minutes early Thursday. But some residents took to Twitter and KPBS phone lines to say their calls were dropped. 211 President John Ohanian says that was caused by a high volume of calls and reminded people to call only if they're impacted by the fire, not just curious about acreage, for example.
It's really people who are receiving that information and have questions about it and are saying, I don't quite understand what this means or how it impacts me. You know, we've had seniors that say they don't feel comfortable driving at night, or individuals that are wondering which actually is the best place for them, route for them to go. And so at that moment, with another human looking at the facts, who's maybe a little bit more relaxed and trying to help that person navigate, can walk them through that situation.
Ohanian says he's working with the nonprofit's phone vendor to find out why there wasn't more capacity for calls. The county's Alert San Diego system was also overloaded Thursday as 40,000 people logged on to register for emergency text alerts. Megan Burks, KPBS News.
County Supervisor Diane Jacobs slammed SDG&E's decision to cut power to thousands of customers in East County because of high winds. KPBS investigative reporter Amita Sharma has more, including the company's sharp rebuke.
SDG&E said Friday afternoon that 14,000 people who live in areas with continued strong wind gusts remain without power. County Supervisor Jacob expressed concern over the shutoff on KPBS's Midday Edition radio program. She shared emails she received from customers who were suffering because of the outage, including one from a stage 4 cancer patient. And at a press conference early Friday morning, Jacob also criticized SDG&E for creating a hardship for firefighters.
Very concerned about SDG&E's policy of proactively de-energizing or shutting off the power in the areas, in the rural areas where people and, in many cases, the fire agencies depend on well water. You can't get the well water without the electricity, so that could pose an additional danger. It could.
In a statement, an SDG&E spokesman said the company is disappointed with Jacob's comments, calling them insulting. The statement said, quote, "We take our responsibility to safely operate the system very seriously. If conditions threaten the integrity of our system, creating an emergency, we will need to turn off the power to protect the public." Amita Sharma, KPBS News.
San Diego is home to a large population of immigrants and refugees who speak many languages. As the wildfire threats levels climbs, KPBS reporter Tara Minto asked how non-English speakers can get informed.
Ramla Saheed leads the nonprofit Partnership for the Advancement of New Americans in City Heights. She says many newcomers may rely on an informal network of community leaders.
People who've been here a little bit longer, who know the system, who know how to navigate the system, and who understand the culture and, are from the community. And so it's really those folks who are notifying people.
A resettlement official says most refugees aren't placed in the areas that are at a higher risk. The county says it has a partnership with community groups to provide disaster-related information in Spanish, Tagalog, Chinese, Vietnamese, Korean, Arabic, Karen, and Somali. Taryn Mento, KPBS News.
Spanish-speaking community health workers are on the ground in some agricultural areas to inform farm workers. The Lilac Fire wasn't the only fire keeping crews busy today. Firefighters from the Cleveland National Forest say a fire was held at just 8 acres. The fire started around 9:30 this morning in Descanso near I-8 in Apatul Valley Road. Firefighters called this the Sweetwater Fire. Crews remained on the scene most of the day to keep the fire under control. We're still under a red flag warning with dry weather and high winds in East County. The fires across Southern California have been pushed by Santa Ana winds we've felt all week. Regina Miller has an update on the forecast as we begin the weekend.
Well, we had some of the highest winds through today, and looking ahead, we have the red flag warning continuing towards the coastal locations until 8 p.m. Saturday. Inland areas, though, until 8 p.m. Sunday, as we're still going to be dealing with the gusty winds out of the east-northeast. Strongest along and below the coastal mountain area, slopes and below passes and canyons. And our wildfire that we're still monitoring here, Lilac Wildfire, 4,100 acres so far has burned. And these are some of the highest wind gusts in San Diego County. So Sill Hill, 88-mile-per-hour gust reported there. Fremont Canyon, 77 miles per hour. In Alpine, 70-mile-per-hour gust reported. And we'll see those winds. High wind warning remains in effect until 4 p.m. But we are going to see the winds diminishing a bit. But taking a look at the future winds into your Saturday and then Sunday morning, we're still going to see them gusting at times 35 to 45 miles per hour. But locally, some higher amounts as well, so we could see some gusts still up to 50 miles per hour, especially inland areas. So for tonight, 51 degrees, partly cloudy skies in the metro areas, and our temperature in Ramona is at 43. In Oceanside, 42 degrees. In San Diego, 51 degrees for our overnight low. And then for tomorrow, we still have that very, very low humidity, and our temperature in Ramona, 79 degrees. Borrego Springs at 75. Mount Laguna is at 59 degrees, and along the coast, 79 degrees for your Saturday, partly sunny on Sunday at 79, and then we're down to 77 for Monday and Tuesday, still keeping lots of sunshine in the forecast. Inland areas still going to be dealing with those gusty winds. On Saturday, partly sunny, warm, 84 also on Sunday. We're up to 85 on Monday and Tuesday with sunshine in the forecast. In the mountain areas, 59 degrees, partly sunny and breezy on Saturday. 59 also on Sunday with periods of sun. Our temperature gets a bit warmer. On Tuesday and Wednesday, we're up to 60 degrees with plenty of sunshine. In the desert areas, Saturday, we're at 75 degrees, periods of sunshine on Sunday at 77, mostly sunny on Monday, 79 degrees. I'm Regina Miller, KPBS News.
Fires have engulfed parts of North County with dangerous conditions expected through the weekend. San Diego has a critical shortage of housing. Can we build our way out of it? And plans to turn Balboa Park's ugly stepsister into Cinderella. Join us for the KPBS Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
More federal help is on the way to fight the wildfires raging in Southern California and to help victims begin to recover. President Donald Trump approved a disaster declaration this morning. It includes those impacted by the Lilac Fire. The Department of Homeland Security and FEMA will coordinate help from the federal government. Here's a look at the major fires still burning to the north of us. The Skirball Fire near Bel Air and the Creek Fire in Sylmar are still less than 50% contained. The largest is the Thomas Fire in Ventura County. 132,000 acres have burned from Santa Paula to the coast. It's just 10% contained. Firefighters say conditions are improving with wind speeds reducing from the dangerous gusts felt earlier this week. We also have an update on fires that broke out Thursday in Tijuana. In one case, a large plume of smoke could be seen from Chula Vista in Otay Mesa. The Tijuana Firefighting Department says one of the fires is at full containment. The other is at 95%. One of the fires destroyed 30 homes. Let's update you now on the major fire burning in San Diego County. The Lilac Fire. Here's the latest information on the fire size and progress. Total acreage is holding at 4,100 acres. There has been no change since last night when the fire was growing rapidly. Containment is still at 0%. 85 structures have been destroyed. Old Highway 395 between Lilac Road and State Route 76 remain closed in both directions. We're expecting another update from CAL FIRE at 7 tonight. You can find all of our wildfire coverage online at kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.